All right, here I'm with Dr. Steve Harris. Very pleased and honored to see you again.
Thank
in
you.
the flesh.
Yes.
And Steve's got a very interesting sort of path which led into his passion, and that's how our paths sort of crossed, where he came on my radar, one of the few, in fact, in South Africa with such interest, and it is something which I really think is essential and crucial for people, not just today, but going forward in all aspects of our life, something we could do with.
So you like mental toughness, just like I like mental toughness, and therefore you think we're blood brothers.
That's what I thought.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll settle for that for the time being.
So, taking us back to what led you where you are today, how did your interest, what was sparked your interest in mental toughness? How did that come about?
I think there's various inputs in time, and suddenly at some point it coalesces into, hang on, this is an important attribute. And whether it's through sport, the military, business, disappointments, relationship disappointments, health disappointments of family members, my own, etc. But there is a common denominator here. If you were more mentally tough, mentally resilient, the word you use a lot, and tapped into this, again a word you use, this warrior instinct, you could probably be a few inches better than if you didn't. And if you kept going, you could be a lot better. So that's, and I don't have one aha moment where it made a difference, or I said this is the key, because it's not the key. There's other things. But if you're mentally tough, you will study, you will get healthier, you will have better relationships. So it is a common denominator. So I'm sad if I can't give you an aha moment, but it made me write a book on it. It's the architecture for the speaking, and I try and use it a lot in the college, the university college that I'm CEO of. So yeah, so it's big to me. But I'm not a zealot though. I don't mental toughness. I think that's also corny. But if you going into an interview on Espresso or something, and you say, well, hang on, I'm the mental toughness guy. I can't screw this up. So what do I need to do not to screw it up? I need to stay composed. I need to be a little more clear on my views. I need to have a good knowledge of it. So I've got boxes I can tick if I'm in trouble in that moment. So yes. So that started our discussion, mental toughness.
Yes.
Now your turn.
Yes. As you know, I'm involved with the Professional Speakers Association, running the Cape chapter, president recently, and we had a speaking competition, which is an annual competition in 5 minutes. So I guess similar to this Pecha Kucha, I don't know if you're familiar with this, where you get your point across in a short amount of time, punchy the way we like it. And what I was told by somebody was informed of the latest speaker's report. Oh, please don't speak about resilience. That is such old hat, because we are now living in the post-COVID days. Good times are back. So resilience is old news. Not to influence you in any way, but what do you think of that view?
I have an anecdote that I've developed over the years. My family throw in my face a lot. I like to live in an and world, not an or world. In other words, if you told me I can't have my cake and eat it, I will say, then why is there cake? And in terms of resilience and culture and old word, I don't believe it. It's an and world. You still have to be enormously resilient to handle not feeling outraged all the time about power outages, about lack of income, about health problems, about all sorts of struggles we have. So that post-COVID, pre-COVID, COVID is not an issue to resilience. You still need it. And your claim that now culture is the buzzword, yeah, culture with resilience then, not culture or resilience. So that's what I think.
Yes, because now the buzzword is culture and strengthening the culture.
And I'm okay with that, because I'm very aware of that old adage, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it does. If you haven't got a culture that supports the strategy, it'll eat it for breakfast. And how you do that is you really train in and assure everyone of what the future could hold for them. Not should, could, because we can't give a should in life. Things change too quickly, as COVID changed things. So if you can get everyone on board with the could-haves, culture will not eat strategy for breakfast. And the culture will in fact magnify strategy. And part of the culture must be back to our word, resilience, and my word, and we share that, mental toughness. So yeah, I'm not on board with, oh, this is the new era. Well, no. It's the old era with new things.
This is affirmed by that recent survey from Deloitte, which found that 65% plus of senior executives found that COVID was the mere start of a lot more disruption to come. So resilience, the need for it, is here to stay.
It is here to stay. Look, I don't think you nor I anticipated COVID. If you were a scientist and medical research, you would have. So again, it speaks to being prepared. But I certainly wasn't prepared. Although the college, we were already online before COVID, so it was more of a hiccup than a smack in the face. So our college managed to get through. From my speaking point of view, I did it quite a lot online, so it wasn't as good an income as before. But I certainly felt grateful that there was still an avenue. So there's always an avenue, and as your Deloitte survey says, there's going to be more disruption. We just must be prepared. How do you get prepared? Resilience. You can take it. What the Afrikaners say, jou kop. Yes.
So in terms of resilience, there's different aspects. For example, and on a national level, resilience could also mean the contingency plans when things go wrong, having reserves of water to avoid a day zero, electricity reserves and so forth. But in terms of the ordinary worker, an average person, what tips or suggestions could you give for them to increase their mental toughness threshold?
Yeah, that is the big question. When you're already resourced, as to a certain extent you are, certainly I am. I've had a long career of building wealth and building assets, and so I can withstand the lack of rain in Cape Town. Put a JoJo in. That's arrogant almost, because that means I've got water. Or use it from the pool. The poverty-stricken can't do that. So it draws even more on the ability to benchmark poverty-stricken countries that don't resort to violence and crime when we're under pressure. And mostly it's places like India where poverty has been the default for much of the population, and South Africa in terms of the old apartheid eras. I don't see those villages reverting to crime. They just manage through the hardship, and not necessarily as I would, which is put in an inverter. Now I've got electricity, I can watch my television. That's again arrogant in my opinion. I must do it because why suffer the consequences of Eskom? But you know, my housekeeper has a place in Khayelitsha, and her electricity is not off when Eskom puts it off. It's off because they stole the cables. So that's where we must partner and help, and not arrogantly be a boss. You buy a gas ring and as much as you can so she can have warm water and food, and enable her to shower in this house and bring down. What's that old adage of get a bigger table, not higher walls, is maybe the mental toughness solution initially, because we can't just resource everyone overnight, but we can be compassionate and instill passion through compassion. But there's no glib answer. There's no. But a little bit more mental resilience helps. And I see it in my housekeeper. She's resilient. And I'm thrilled to see it. And I hope if I were in her situation, I'd be the same. Yeah, that's my answer to that.
So you've also worked with some sports teams in the past. And can you take us through what you've done with them to help improve their mental toughness?
Yeah, it's several sports teams. Obviously, the highlight is many years with the Springboks, one way or another, because I developed good relationships with many of the administrators, and I would get opportunities to travel with the Springboks and prepare them for a big tournament, and often in team building. But it meant resilience, mental toughness, and over time, all the way from Morne Duplessis asking me to help to Peter de Villiers asking me to do the strategic planning for the Springboks. And all of it contained a huge element of mental toughness. I think one's got to be careful, and as we had a conversation about the practical stuff you do to help with mental toughness, because you could end up in a sociologically poorly constructed idea which will tear down the fabric and the culture of the team rather than build it up. So it's not just a question, oh, let's go out and swim to that yacht and see who gets there and help each other survive. Well, you're going to embarrass half the people, you're going to maybe have a drowning on your hands, you're going to have fear-based reactions. So it's a very carefully considered process of inch by inch getting those sports people and business people, but you asked about sports people, to be an inch or two better. That's all you need. They're already on top of their game. Just need them to get an inch better. And that's that wonderful movie On Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino's one, when he spoke about the inches. And if you keep that in mind, we're just trying to get an inch. And that's all the Springboks had when they won the World Cup last time. The inch was aggression, though. They magnified aggression, which is a part of mental toughness. Aggression with self-control, obviously, to obsession. Where if I was in the English team, I wouldn't want to play either. After a while, it hurts. Can they repeat that? Well, if that's their only uniqueness, they'll have to. But you can see currently the game has changed so much, and the type of player profile has changed so much. They won't have to just rely on aggression. They've got many other little cues that they can get an inch. So I know you didn't ask that, but they're in with a chance just like they were before.
So you can provide an example of where you saw the result in improving mental toughness, an activity you did, or...
You know, I can't pick on one thing, Gloria. It has been such, it collapses into, you know, I can't self-aggrandize by saying, I told them to do that.
No,
I realize that. But
anything.
Particularly in lifesaving, it was the most one, because that's a sport of multiple disciplines: swimming, running, paddling, and it relies incredibly much on the resilience of just keeping going, staying in the race. Don't fall off the pace. The weather's bad. The other guys must feel it more than you, the opposition. You must know, they're getting unhappy about the size of the surf now. You should use that to your advantage. They don't like the wind and the rain. Use it to your advantage. That'll give you that inch, and that's all that's required. You're in the race. You just need an inch to win. Don't have to win by a mile, just an inch. And it's happened often, and I don't have specifics I want to refer to. But they're in the book. They're in the book, so you might have read it by now. And if you have, you'll have to read it again, because the 9th of May edition was sent to my customer tomorrow when I'm speaking to. So I edit all the time. I will edit from our conversation. You're a sage at this subject, so you say things to me and say, that's interesting, I never thought of that. And I add that, and that's my inch now. So you give that.
See, I'm going to add now to my book as well, a quote, Dr. Steve Harris, that I'm a sage.
Yeah.
So I must add that to the
It means you're spicy. I'm going to give you no, I think you're smart. I think you've done a good job, and you're learning in areas that I enjoy. And I've no doubt in certain parts of it you're ahead of me. I might still be ahead of you in some parts, or in my dreams I am. But
I'm not going to be able to get out that door. My head's going to be.
Yes, it's going to go. No, but it's important to realize that you are a player and you're in the game. And just like the lifesaver, you're in the game. Just need an edge. Just need an edge, and you'll get there. And I think you got there already. You know, by the positions you hold and the stuff you do. If you think it, and then the paradox is you've got to have the humility not to self-promote. And this adage, you know, I use it in my talks because people want to hear, well, as you were, what did you do good? And I look back at the competitions when I competed, and I'm tempted to talk about how I won this, won that. But really, it's nothing compared to what's happening at the moment. Not even in my sport, in any sport. They're way ahead of any achievement that I could achieve. So it's an eye roll, really. The audience doesn't want to hear about my achievements. So it's far better to not pretend, but to be humble about it. But things have moved on so much, but I have become a student of it. I have developed a deep understanding of mental toughness and of performance in business or in sport. That I can apply. I can't even relate back to my own stories. You know, I tried even to frighten the audience with shark attacks and say, you know, we were out there with a shark attack at Clifton. Now they don't want to swim anymore. So that didn't work. No,
if the cold water doesn't get you,
the shark will get you. So I rely on deep understanding of wrestling with the concepts of listening to everyone, again, including you, and saying, hang on, I can build on what I know. No, that changes what I know. In fact, not even built on, I must stop what I know, because that's the very problem in helping my clients.
Yes.
I must reinvent, rediscover. Seth Godin's, I can still be a cow, but I must become a purple cow if I'm going to be recognized. And my antennae, my dream catchers, constantly looking for, how do I improve it? How do I become the purple cow? Because what we spoke about now, tomorrow is old hat. We've got to find something new. And fortunately, I'm passionate about that. I love it. Absolutely love finding new aspects to mental resilience and culture.
Just to ensure that we are current.
Yeah, we can we say something that's ahead of culture? Yeah.
And on that note, thank you very much, Dr. Steve Harris, for joining
Pleasure.
me today.
Yeah.
And
Nice chat.
till the next time.
Okay.
Thank you.